Good morning. I'm Steve Shively, and I'm grateful to have the opportunity to share with you the third and final reflection of our current First Presbyterian Stewardship campaign. That campaign is In the Bulb There Is a Flower. And I am so pleased that as Reformed people, and always reforming, Paul acknowledged in his sermon that rhizomes are not bulbs from which irises generate, and there is a God, there is hope for gardeners of all type. But if you have a lyrical theme for a future campaign where the song uses rhizomes in it, please offer it up, and you can be head of that stewardship campaign. These last couple weeks, we started off with Linda McGuire, who helped launch our theme with a beautiful walk through the garden. She invited us to plant our hopes gently, to water them with patience, and to leave room in the soil to dream as we wait for the wonder of God. Linda reminded us of the many gardens that this congregation has produced over the years, seasons of very large choirs in long robes, joyful thunder of the organ constantly playing, and the deep evergreen embrace of love, prayer, service, and fellowship rooted here at First Presbyterian. Earlier this spring, Leslie and I had our own fig tree garden kind of moment there, in that we annually take a rhododendron festival photo with whatever our dog du jour is, and this year it's Rex, and we took it this year in a neighbor's yard in front of a neighbor's blooming rhodie tree, because our rhodie bush had, much like that fig tree, been given one more years, and it just failed to produce. And we had that required sad piece of gardening that at some point you do have to prune, you do have to pull out, and you do have to let the soil heal and put in new plants. I thought of that rhodie bush last week when John Goldwood shared with us his memories of the Burpee seed catalogs of his youth and the possibilities that are there every spring. John spoke clearly about the fiscal pruning that has helped extend First Presbyterian's financial runway by roughly 18 months out to the end of 2030. And that is faithful and very challenging work. But as John reminded us, we are not done. We are being invited to give with our time, our treasure, and our talents. For those that are already giving, thank you. And now that we are all being invited to dig even deeper, 10% deeper, so that together we can cultivate a sustainable harvest, not just through 2030, but maybe 2035 and beyond. Today I want to speak about one of the newest plants in the garden and of First Pres, and that's the New Visions community. Last year, the session of First Presbyterian authorized the formation of New Visions Community, an independent 501c3 nonprofit with a clear purpose to help transform our Franklin and Polk campus into a community hub, aka a garden, for a new era of service, hospitality, partnership, and public good. The public-facing description of New Visions says it well, and it says New Visions is about using this campus for guests, partners, development, and expanded community, where modern conveniences meet historic touches, all in an inspiring setting. So using that tagline of maybe the golden age of Hollywood might have pulled together and Bing Crosby, Gene Kelly from Central Casting, and they might have scripted a much loved and common trope of a musical with the theme, let's put on a show. And we will spare you from the song and dance of it, but the good news is that hospitality is not separate from ministry in and of itself, and that ministry is taking a root in a new season here. In Scripture, Luke 10, Jesus says, "The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few." Jesus is speaking with agricultural imagery, but also with urgency. Then, same as today, there are people ready to be welcomed, served, loved, and invited into something larger than themselves. Biblical hospitality is not just about entertaining our friends. It is actively welcoming the stranger, sharing what we have and creating room for people with whom we have not yet known, nor do they know that they belong. Let me say that again. Biblical hospitality is not just entertaining our friends, it is actively welcoming the stranger, sharing what we have, and creating room for people who may not yet know that they belong. If you think of this uptown corner of Franklin and Polk as our wartime victory garden, our battle is against, and it is an ongoing battle against irrelevance. Our troops need the cash crops that can and should be produced by harvesting New Vision's guest usage and New Vision's partnership leases here in the facility. And those will help sustain us so that we can continue to be blessed by the fruits of the Spirit that have flourished here for over 150 years. And so New Vision's community continues to plant crops of opportunity across multiple fields: development, community connections, guests, and partners. Each one of those categories is like a burpee seed packet where we stick the popsicle stick on it and we put it in the row waiting for that crop to flourish, and we hope it matches the picture on the seed catalog. Just last week, our Community Connections leg of New Visions added First Saturday Art Walk to our monthly offerings, and we featured Tom Belling's photos. And up today and featured next month, we will welcome Milt Lum's travel and nature photography to the walls of Fellowship Hall. It may sound simple, and Tom Belding can say it, can assure you it's not as far as coordinating the photos, but it's one more way that this corner of Franklin and Polk becomes more open, becomes more visible, and becomes more connected to the life of Port Townsend. Last week, we also welcomed Rain Shadow Corral back into our magnificent celebration space. We know it as a sanctuary, where they shared wonderful music with more than 400 audience attendees over 2 concerts. 400 people were packed in here over 2 concerts. And now we are exploring the possibility of Rain Shadow becoming more than just a reoccurring guest group through New Visions, perhaps even becoming a leaseholding partner with a kind of hybrid botany variety where they will become, and this will become their artistic home. And they will not only gift us with a lot more of additional revenue, but there will be additional holiday concert series potential. There will be weekly rehearsals. There will be quartets and additional singing groups periodically enriching our Sunday worship. They will also help us with technical talent, supporting our dedicated and overworked sound and live stream servants. Encourage you to stay tuned because those seeds are sprouting. We're also working towards the possibility of bringing a midweek preschool learning center into room 37, which is the room, same footprint, same size, directly above Fellowship Hall. Imagine renewed life out on the playground, little feet scampering on the labyrinth Monday through Friday, and new families discovering this place as a location of care, safety, and welcome. That too would bring meaningful new revenue, lots of it, and it would also bring some challenges. And as our fellow gardener Kermit the Frog says very well, it's not easy being green, because with it comes some real challenges. Just even in the early conversations with the preschool, they are excited, but they also shared with us that some of their parents are already expressing the same concerns about the stairs to the second floor that our old AARP knees have known for way too long. That some of them are also uncertain about a preschool being located in a place of worship. Now that may be hard to hear, but it's also important to hear, because the Apostle Paul reminds us in 1 Corinthians that faithful mission sometimes means removing unnecessary barriers. Paul says in chapter 9 of 1 Corinthians, I have become all things to all people, so that by all possible means I might save some. Paul didn't abandon the gospel, not at all. He adapted himself for the sake of the gospel. And maybe, just maybe, that's simply removing some of those barriers, such as allowing New Visions to affirm the marketing of library versus narthex, or celebration space versus sanctuary, in order to bring more into this space who otherwise may have a barrier because of our ecclesiastical names. So for this part of our calling, we find that it's important that we don't hide, that we who we are, that we celebrate who we are, but in it we also constantly ask, how do we make this place more welcoming? How do we reduce the barriers of fear? How do we open doors of misunderstanding? And how do we let people encounter the love of Christ long before they may ever know that they have a need for it, Christ? This corner of Franklin and Polk has been fertile ground for more than 150 years, and for that we are thankful. But never once has this corner of Franklin and Polk produced a successful crop simply by tossing a few magic beans out onto untilled soil. Every good harvest that has happened in the ministry here has required prayer, generosity, imagination, pruning, patience, and laborers willing to get their hands dirty in that soil. This is stewardship. It is not only paying the bills, it's tending the garden of God and the garden that God has entrusted us here. So in the season of giving, I invite each of us to step into the garden again. Give with faith, give with hope, give with our treasures, our time, and our talents. And where you're able to give, consider digging even 10% deeper, because the harvest is not finished. God is still planting new hopes for mission here. And thanks to God's grace, we get to help it grow for an exciting season ahead. Please join us. Thank you.